Hello, hello, hello. We're pressing a button, and thank you for listening. I'm Nicky.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Andrew.
And today we're going to be discussing Twisted Metal 2. Twisted Metal 2 is a vehicular combat game that was released in 1996 for both PlayStation and PC by the game studio SingleTrac. Players choose a vehicle and engage in battle with opposing drivers, incorporating areas from all around the world as death courses. The objective of the game is to be the last player to survive. Spoiler warning for this very old game. We'll probably talk about the end and some very key story points. So be warned.
Yeah, for the loads of story in this game.
Yeah, if you haven't played this game since 1996, there might be some spoilers in it for you. So pause the podcast, go play the game, and come back.
So, Andrew, I was curious, what is your own history with the game?
So this is a game that I've just kind of played, I don't want to say nonstop, but like I played it regularly ever since it came out. And it's just a game that I feel like means a lot to me, and I appreciate it more as I get older because it's kind of like a really easy pick up and play kind of game. Doesn't require a whole lot of time. And
yeah, like a fine wine. It just keeps getting better with age.
yeah, and there's always just like, I don't know, like new things that happen in the battles that still surprise me to this day.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
So many like secret areas and stuff in the levels too that I'll like have played a level a bunch and then I'm like, oh, I've never been to this particular area within the level before.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
So you want to get into it?
Sure. All right, so Andrew, I think you prepared some history for us. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got a few notes about the development and just growing up with the game. Like, we got this game Christmas of 1996. My older brother, he had a PlayStation.
Nice.
I saw the commercial for this game and immediately like excited me, and I wanted to play it so bad. And my mom asked me like what she should get my older brother for Christmas, and I told her to get
The
Twisted
thing you
Metal
wanted.
too. The thing I wanted. And
But he probably wanted it too, right? I mean, it looks like a game.
I mean, he played
boys
it a
would
lot,
like.
so I don't think he complained. But
Yeah.
we
I like
definitely
that
all,
tactic.
Yeah, we definitely all got
Sorry.
a lot of playtime out of it, and
So what was the commercial? I never saw. I don't remember it.
but it's a pretty cool commercial. You can find it on YouTube, but it starts off like a car commercial, like listing all the features of a car, and then it starts going into all its weapon capabilities and how it can like fire napalm into traffic and shoot
nice.
missiles. And
Nice.
yeah, it just plays out like a luxury car commercial. It's pretty cool.
That sounds like a pretty creative commercial.
It was. And if you look it up, you'll see why I got pumped for it.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
not remember this commercial at all. Maybe I wasn't watching the channels where they would show it.
Yeah, unless it was on like PBS or some channel that was free, I definitely didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it definitely wasn't PBS material.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no way. Did the commercial have Sweet Tooth in it?
No, but I remember it had Mr. Slam, and that got me super excited because
Nice.
I wanted to go
Oh,
around
nice.
slamming cars, and
Yeah.
I still do to this day. So
Awesome.
I got some history of the development. It's more like the history of Twisted Metal in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so,
fine.
So Twisted Metal was originally created by David Jaffe, and you might know David Jaffe as also the creator of Kratos from God of War.
Yeah, I was
Whoa,
like, that
really?
does sound very familiar.
So I figured you'd appreciate that pedigree. So.
Oh, yeah.
So David Jaffe, he originally was a filmmaker. He went to film school and moved out to Hollywood to kind of pursue his passion. But in the meantime, he got a job at Sony as a game tester. Mm-hmm. And eventually he moved up those ranks, and they promoted him to go work with SingleTrac to develop a game, because SingleTrac used to create military simulation software.
Yeah.
And so like their 3D like simulation software was groundbreaking, and Sony wanted to use it to make a game.
That's funny.
So
Yeah.
David
Yeah.
Jaffe went to go meet with them, and on the way back, he got stuck in traffic, when he got back to LA, and he started imagining like blowing up the cars with missiles and machine guns.
Oh, so many times.
Yep. And so that was how he came up with the idea.
Yeah, he was
for
like,
Twisted
hey,
Metal.
if I want to do this, I bet other people would also want to do this.
Oh, for sure. And
Especially if you're stuck in traffic all the time.
that was when 3D games were coming along, so it could finally be a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make it real lifelike.
that's crazy. So was this was his first game then?
Yes.
Wow, yeah. That's
Yeah,
nuts.
that is neat.
And then he went from this to like God of War and all that stuff. That's yeah, that's amazing.
You know, the character, I can see it.
Well,
The Kratos.
Kratos and Twisted
Sweet
Metal.
Tooth, and yeah,
David,
that would be cool.
David Jaffe has kind of said the same thing. He said that Sweet Tooth and Kratos both represent him, like his most animalistic side of him.
That's funny.
Like he sees them as like his most desirable way to be, because those two characters, they just go take what they want, and that's kind of like his like power fantasy, I guess, how he wants to envision himself.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So some original names for Twisted Metal were Urban Assault and High Octane.
Yeah.
Before they
High
settled
Octane.
on Twisted Metal.
Okay.
I think Twisted Metal is the best out of the three, in my opinion.
I think so too. I think it's
Yeah.
got the most personality
Yeah.
behind it.
And with the characters, because all the characters are twisted.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's like
So it's
it has that
kinda
double
like,
meaning.
Yeah.
So when they created Twisted Metal, Sony of Japan did not care for the game. And when they came to preview it, they requested that they change all the weapons to fruits and vegetables.
No.
Fruits and vegetables.
What?
Like you're shooting like bananas at somebody.
Yeah,
or-
bananas,
Strawberries.
watermelons. I guess they just
Blueberries.
didn't care for the overt violence of the game.
That would have been honestly like if you were shooting a car with grapes and then the car exploded. That would have been kind of hilarious in its own way.
I mean, it sounds like a mod someone would do.
Yeah.
Like, for fun.
And it does sound like a very like wacky Japanese kind of thing if you play a lot of like Japanese games.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that much, but it's so funny to think about.
So the first game was not expected to be a hit, and it was brutally torn apart by the testers who played fighting games a lot because they were comparing it to like fighting games because there wasn't anything like Twisted Metal before. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the testers didn't really like know how to properly context what they were playing. So they compared
like you
it to,
had
like, Street
racing
Fighter.
games and you had fighting games, but there was really no car fighting games.
Yeah.
Yeah, the closest
Yes.
thing I can think of would have been like the battle mode in Super Mario Kart for the SNES or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of very close to that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you had the fruits and stuff, like they would be a lot more like that.
Yeah, but I think that's why they maybe wanted the fruit. Like, hey, make this more like the battle mode in Mario Kart or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, maybe they wanted their own Mario Kart to compete with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Since PlayStation was new at the time. So the first game became a surprise hit and won EGM's Game of the Year. So the sequel was greenlit because it got a really positive critical reception.
Yeah, that'll do it. You know, something makes money.
That's true.
They're like, give me more of where that came from.
Yeah, and so that was the development of Twisted Metal 2 was basically they wanted to just polish everything that they felt like they could have improved in the first game and just make it bigger and better. And it took 16 months of development, and I think it turned out a lot better than the first game too. Because if you play the first game, it's pretty rough.
Oh, really?
I can appreciate the first game, but it's hard to go back to it after playing the second.
Yeah, I
one.
never played the first one, but from all the stuff that I read online, that's what everyone said, that this one was the first one, but just better. Like they took the stuff from the first game and just improved upon it.
Yeah, it's definitely like everything a sequel I feel like should accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
usually what you want with the sequel. You want the last game, but better.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like the first one, was it on what was the first one on PlayStation? And then this one was on PlayStation also, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess like power wise, it's not like the
Yeah.
second one was on PlayStation 2, so they could really like test the limits of the console.
Yeah.
It was the same console, so that does limit you, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they did a good job.
I think the best way I can compare it to is like going from Mega Man 1 to Mega Man 2. Like it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same basic game, but just a huge jump in quality.
Yeah. That's 100% true.
So some of the design philosophy behind Twisted Metal is that the cars, they're not meant to feel like cars. And so some later games in the Twisted Metal series that were developed by like other developers, they used like car racing engines that they had to make the games, and so they weren't as well received because they just didn't control like what they were used to in other Twisted Metal games.
Yeah, I feel like the turning especially is super critical in this game.
And that is actually like one of the key proponents in the design philosophy, because you can like turn the cars just sitting still. Like they don't try to make the car physics realistic, and I think that makes it a lot more fun and arcadey like.
Yeah, I think that.
I mean, it's really slow when you do it that way.
No, well, if you hold,
when I try to.
if you hold accelerate and e-brake at the same time, you can actually turn really quick.
Oh, but I just meant when you're stopped. If you try to turn like that, then it takes a long time.
Yeah. If you just try to do it without hitting
you're probably
accelerate
gonna
and
get
e-brake.
shot. Yeah.
It's better than having to try to like whip a U-turn though. Like
That's true.
Yeah,
that could be difficult. So at the time, French game journalists were offended by the blowing up of the Eiffel Tower. They did not care for that very much.
Oh.
But that became like the most iconic level of the Twisted Metal series.
Paris.
Yeah.
You guys did blow up the Eiffel Tower, right?
No,
I didn't know you could blow it up.
Oh yeah, you can. There's that remote bomb under the Eiffel Tower, and if you place it like when you warp up to the top and blow it up, it'll blow up the pieces of the Eiffel Tower, and they'll land like between the buildings. And so after that, you can like drive along the rooftops. And it
I was wondering how you got up to the roof.
Yeah, it kind of becomes like a whole second level within Paris.
Oh,
Dude, that's
cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, you guys go back.
Yeah,
and
we
try it.
definitely did not know about that.
I had no idea.
I probably should have told you guys, but
It's okay.
I thought the remote bomb under the Eiffel Tower would have been a clue.
I was probably just so concerned with trying to kill the other players.
Stay alive was
and
a big
staying
one for
alive.
me.
Yeah.
This is a hard game.
Yeah, there's a lot of
is.
destructible environments. You could blow up the Statue of Liberty in New York. You could blow up the Hollywood sign in L.A. And just all kinds of stuff.
So
like
that's
that.
like a fun game within itself, just like trying to figure out what buildings you can like blow up.
Yeah, it's mostly just kind of like Easter eggs, but it's a lot of fun. You can actually discover a lot of like secret codes in the game too. Like if you go in the museum in Paris, you can use a napalm to light the paintings on fire, and they'll reveal like secret codes like multiplayer levels and like Sweet Tooth and Minion and a few other things.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is cool that they found a way to put that within the game itself.
Yeah, it's really fun, like just trying to see what you can alter and get rewarded by it.
This game has so many more layers than I knew about.
It's kind of hard, though, when you're trying to explore to also explore and to stay alive at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. Just put the shield on like every 2 seconds.
But I think it's kind of fun because like nowadays you can just Google all these codes and everything, which kind of takes the fun out of it, you know.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have really had that luxury back in the day. So if you found something like that, you would have been like, "Oh man, this is amazing."
Yeah.
But then you would tell all your friends.
Yeah, exactly, and it spreads by word of mouth. Yeah.
Until someone writes it in the magazine.
Or you find it in a magazine or something. That was the other option too.
But it's always fun to get like rewarded for discovery.
Yeah.
You know, looking around.
I feel old. Remember magazines? There's like these groups of paper that they glued together. Oh, it was great.
So some of the original concepts that they came up with when trying to come up with Twisted Metal 2, because some players had a hard time with the car physics in the first game, so they were originally going to make all the cars hover cars. That was an idea that they had.
That sounds cool.
That kind of explains the turning a little bit then, too.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense where like the cars in part 2 kind of feel very floaty and hovery. Yeah. So maybe that was a leftover from that idea. And then after they scrapped the hover cars idea, another idea that they came up with, creating cars with like metallic bug legs that could crawl up buildings and walls. I guess just
that's cool.
Open up the levels more.
Yeah.
But I think that would have been a little bit too like removed from the idea of the first game.
That's true. I wonder why they didn't do the hover cars, because I mean that sounds neat.
I think they could have done like one hover car at least. Like, that would have been cool.
Were there any new characters in the second game that weren't in the first game?
Yeah, there was I think about half the cast was new characters.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Slam was new. Shadow was new. Axel was new. Twister, Grasshopper.
Okay, cool.
Axel's like the most messed up character.
He really is.
Yeah,
I like him though.
He's kind of a very tragic character.
Yeah, it's like I'm very empathetic because I imagine what it would be like to be him. Like, oh god, I would just die immediately, probably.
Well, we're kind of having this discussion earlier because his like arms are trapped in this device, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, well, how does he eat? I'm like, well, he could like drive maybe into like an apple tree where the food's kind of like.
And I'm like, no, because if you tried to bite it and you didn't have anything to hold it in place, it would just move out of the way. Like, you have to have your hands.
I bet he would be a champion at bobbing for apples.
Yeah. I mean, he'd have to bob for fish, like in like a river, and like just like, I don't know, bear style. Like, I don't know.
Maybe he just sustains off like all the bugs that get caught in his teeth while he's driving.
Oh, that's maybe he just
Yeah.
rides around with his mouth open and tries to get bugs in there.
Captures protein.
Kind of like a whale, like when they're,
Yeah.
just like sifting through the ocean or whatever.
Yeah, he needs a drink of water, so then he drives through a lake.
Ew.
Axel's got a hard life.
He really does. Like,
Either that or someone just feeds him. I mean, that could be an option too.
he is though one of the most creative characters. Like iconic characters. Like, you don't forget Axel once you see Axel. Like,
Yeah.
that character, you remember that character.
This is
Yeah,
like,
he's definitely a fan favorite. And when you said that you felt empathy for him, I kind of like his ending because I feel like Calypso feels empathy for him too, because he's got one of the few endings where Calypso doesn't screw the contestant over.
Oh, yeah, that's
Kinda.
true.
Well, yeah.
Well, he gave him what he wished
That's
for.
true.
The courage
It just
to
didn't
face his father.
turn out that well.
Yeah.
I mean, it turned out fine. He just,
Really?
if you don't know, he just rips his arm off of the thing and like he yells at his dad and then walks away.
So you think losing both your arms is a fine ending?
Well, he does it himself, He rips himself out of the device under his own free will.
Yeah.
He comes back in later games, so
Okay.
yeah, I think it all worked out.
He misses the device.
Wait, how many Twisted Metal games are there?
There was 5 on PlayStation 1.
Wow,
And-
5?
Whoa, just on PlayStation 1?
Yep, they really
Whoa.
milked it for a little while.
They really did. That's a lot
jeez.
for one console.
And then they came out with 2 on PlayStation 2 and then 1 on PS3, and it's been dead for about 11 years now.
Dang.
So, but it's kind of coming back in a little bit.
We'll talk about it later, but there's
the future, yeah, we'll talk
there's a
about it in the
show.
future.
There's all that cool stuff going on with it. You have anything else for the history?
I think that's it for the history. I got a few things on here that would be fun facts.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
let's do some fun facts. I actually have a fun fact.
Ooh.
Okay, you go first. My notes are a little bit mixed up.
So I discovered this one myself. I assume a lot of people have discovered this one though. If you put the game on easy difficulty, the game will only let you get about halfway through the game before a message pops up that says "No losers past this point."
And I'll be honest. I
love
kind of set you guys up with that.
Yeah.
When I came up with the challenge, because I just wanted to see if you guys would run into that.
I
gosh.
100% did. I'm like, this is way too hard. Let me turn it down to easy just so I can get the endings. And then I immediately was like, I think it was like a few stages after I did that because I was continuing back and I did it. Yeah, anyway.
That was
I
a
don't even
cruel
think I
joke.
ever turned it down to easy. I was just like, I gotta do this.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I told you about it too, but yeah, I saw that screen and I sat there and I laughed for like a few minutes. And
Yeah,
just
I
like,
thought that was funny.
When you guys told me, I could pick a longer game, I was kind of thinking, okay, what if I picked a game that took longer to kind of master in a
Yeah.
way? Did you guys
Yeah.
ever get a good feel for
No,
playing it?
not me.
I would pretty much die I would get to the next level every level, but then I would die. So I'd have to enter the password.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got stuck on Darktooth until I realized there was a password that get you straight to Darktooth.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because that way you can use all 3 lives trying to fight him, as opposed to losing all your lives in the main battle and then having nothing left for Darktooth. Yeah.
I tried not to use any of the cheat codes, so I didn't get very far.
Well, I mean, it gives you the
No,
level
it gives you
code,
a password every time you beat a level. So
okay.
I would just take a photo with my phone. That way I could go back
Technology.
and enter the password.
That's cool.
Yeah, I assume back in the day you just have a notebook page like full of the passwords.
Oh
I
yeah.
I used to write the passwords down in my Goosebumps books. Like,
Oh, nice. Oh,
I
I
found my
love it.
Goosebumps books not long ago, and I had like Twisted Metal, Crash Bandicoot codes
Nice.
written in them.
That's funny.
That's great. Man, Crash Bandicoot, that's a good one too.
Yeah, it's another classic.
So there was actually a Twisted Metal 2 comic book that was created as a promotion for this game, and they only printed 100 copies of it,
Whoa.
and 50 of them were given as a prize in Tips and Tricks magazine. The other 50 were given to fans who wrote to Sony asking for a copy. So it's a very rare comic book, and it details like the origin story of Calypso.
That's cool.
Yeah, about how he kind of gains his powers and why he's evil. So apparently when he was younger, he accidentally ran over his younger sister with a car.
Oh, okay.
Is there
Yeah,
still
that makes
only
sense.
100 copies left? Did they ever like re-release that comic book for
They-
sale or anything?
They never re-released it. They occasionally come up on sale, and they go for like $3,000 to
Yeah, I bet.
$4,000. So
Jeez.
they're highly collectible.
Yeah.
Only 100, and like some of those probably have gotten destroyed somehow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's probably less than
Oh, yeah,
100
yeah.
out there.
And the ones that exist are probably like not in great condition either.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you don't think about that when you're a kid. Like, ooh, one day
Yeah.
comic book might be worth something. You're like, no, I want to read it.
You can find online scans of it, like the
Yeah.
pages and everything. And I don't think they'll ever like reprint it though, because the very last panel of the
Oh,
comic
no.
book is the World Trade Center blowing up.
Oh,
And it's like, wow, that's really unfortunate.
yeah, they'd probably have to edit that or something.
Yeah,
so
I
it
mean-
wouldn't be authentic. Yeah,
I mean, they wouldn't have known. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
man.
because that was not even that long before.
Yeah, it's
But,
kind of
you
shocking
know,
when you
yeah.
see that, and it's like, wow, like
Jeez.
who could have guessed
Yeah,
that?
I guess those were just such popular buildings, like, but that's still pretty.
I mean,
nuts.
yeah, it was kind of like on that iconic skyline of New York. Those were like pretty iconic part of it.
Yeah.
So the PC version, I don't know how people do it, but there's actually still an active like online multiplayer group still playing Twisted Metal 2.
What?
I'm assuming you have to use like some kind of virtual like machine to do it, but
That's
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, it had online play back in the 90s. and
Would that be like Windows 95 or like Windows 98 or
definitely
something?
Windows 95, I would think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be like kind of a challenge to do a multiplayer.
I think they set up
that.
like private servers or something, but
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
dedication.
I've seen people on YouTube doing it, so would be cool.
You should try to
try.
get in a group.
I just haven't had time to like look it up.
Yeah.
I would love to do it.
That's pretty
That would
crazy.
be cool. Let us know if you ever do that. That'd be
Yeah, I'll
cool.
definitely let you guys know if I figure it out. So another fun fact. If you look in the game manual, it'll show like the pedestrians you can run over in the game.
Oh dang! I didn't even look in the game manual.
And it'll
we
show
have it though.
It'll show like Santa Claus in there. And it says he's in Antarctica. And for like all my life, I've never found Santa Claus in Antarctica. And it always just drove me crazy. Like I always assumed like he got cut or something.
Yeah.
Well, I only solved this mystery a couple years ago on YouTube when I looked it up, and apparently Santa Claus only exists in the PC version.
Oh,
So you can't
so no
run,
wonder.
yeah, you can't run over Santa Claus in the PlayStation
Aw.
version, unfortunately. So
And you're like, dang it! I spent all this time looking for something that,
That-
didn't
I-
exist.
yeah, I used to do that as a kid. I'd play the challenge mode and drive around the stages just to kind of look around and see
Yeah.
what I could find. And I probably spent an embarrassingly long time looking for Santa Claus.
Yeah. Well, you probably get to the point where you're like, okay, it's got to be here somewhere. I'm gonna find it, and then
Yeah, the booklet wouldn't lie.
and then you
Yeah.
find out. It's like, oh, dang.
That is kind of disappointing.
They should add them into the remastered version or whatever, the
should.
updated version.
It is cool that you can run over people in this game too. This is like pre Grand Theft Auto, all that stuff, right? Or maybe the first one. I don't know. I don't know when the first.
I think it predates the first Grand Theft Auto.
Grand
Beat it
Theft
by a
Auto
year.
came out in 1997. So
Okay.
they totally copied Twisted Metal, probably.
Rockstar owes all its success to Twisted Metal.
For real.
It kind of paved the way in a weird way, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there was probably some people on the dev team who were Twisted Metal fans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was one cut driver from Twisted Metal 2, a car named Darkside, who was in Twisted Metal 1. It's a big black semi truck. And it was to be driven by a character named Granny Dark, who was some evil grandma character.
Yes.
That actually sounds like it would fit right in.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
the rest of the cast. I wonder why they cut it.
Probably just for time. I think
okay.
It makes sense because Darkseid in the first game was like a big power character, and I think Twisted Metal 2 kind of has enough of those with Hammerhead, Mr. Slam, and Axel. Probably don't need a fourth one. Kind of redundant.
Yeah.
I want to make room for some of the new guys or gals.
Poor Granny Dark.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Should we talk about the story real quick? You know,
Oh,
the super
yeah.
in-depth, really detailed story with
We
lots of ups and downs.
We did watch a YouTube compilation of all the endings.
We did. Oh
The
my
other day.
god.
Well, I'm
Some-
glad you did.
It's
I
like
think
some of
they're
them
great.
are so cheesy. It's like you put 2 minutes of thought into this, and then some of them are like, okay, that's pretty good. You know, it's
Yeah.
like they're not all created equal.
I
Okay.
will say this: they are miles better than 3 and 4. Like, if you want really bad endings, go watch those ones.
Oh
Those are
gosh,
terrible.
yeah,
3 and 4 were made by like a different team, so
yeah.
did not capture the spirit.
The story, just to tell the listeners, Calypso is the ruler of the world. He held a Twisted Metal tournament in a destroyed Los Angeles, and so he decides to hold the second one across the entire world.
So you can destroy many cities instead of just one.
He seems like a really good world leader.
Yeah, he seems very wholesome.
And so all these drivers have different motivation for entering the tournament. They all can get their wish granted by Calypso
If they win,
if they win.
which means they're the last person standing.
Yeah. And so some of those wishes are like Roadkill. His was like he wanted to know if this was reality, and it turns out he was like in the
A
hospital.
coma or something.
Yeah, he
there
was in a
like
coma.
There was a
Yeah.
25 car pile up on the freeway, and he woke up in the hospital after being in a coma, and he sees that the other people in the crash were in the hospital, and they were actually the other contestants of the Twisted Metal contest.
Yeah.
The lore of this game is very like vague and doesn't really
Yeah.
match up with the other games, so it's just kind of, you take it with a grain of salt. Don't try not to think too hard about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
but
how
like-
does Axel eat or
Yeah.
go to the
Oh my
bathroom?
gosh. But like Calypso, he's kind of like Satan in a way, where like if you do win and you get your wish, you know, and you say your wish, but if your wording is not like perfect, he's gonna twist your wish probably and give you your wish, but it's not gonna be how you want it. So
It's like a monkey's paw wish.
yeah,
Where it's like, you know, he takes it literally like too far, literally, or whatever.
or maybe not, because like there was the one what the flying guys that we were just talking about, Hammerhead, where they wish for the ability to fly, right? So they immediately, for some reason, instead of just trying to test it out on a lower level, they jump off the skyscraper, and of course they die. And then Calypso's like, it has plane tickets right here. So it's like, that's not literal. I mean, kind of is, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a joke. I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I don't know. They could have like taken it further. The joke, you know, that was the one I was like, okay, they spent 2 minutes thinking about this one.
I liked. I think my favorite was Twisters, where she asked to be like the fastest person alive or something, and so then it shows her driving, and she's like, for some reason, going back in time because I
Yeah.
guess she's surpassing
It's like
the
the
speed of light.
Superman thing.
Yeah, so she's going so fast, she's going back in time, and then she runs out of gas, and like she gets stepped on by a dinosaur.
Like immediately after she runs out of gas.
And then her helmet like shows up in a museum. Her,
Yeah.
like busted helmet.
That was pretty cool. I like that
love
one.
that ending.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that stood out the most. Oh wait, the one who was the girl that wanted to go be in space with her brother,
Oh,
That was
Outlaw.
Outlaw.
Yeah.
Outlaw, and she tricked Calypso. She was like, haha, he's gonna think that I messed up these words, but really it was a part of her plan all along. So she just wished she could be with her brother, and Calypso was like,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna throw
gonna
you
send
into
you to
space.
space.
Well, that's
And then she was like, that was my plan all along.
Yeah.
I put turbo boosters on my car. And then that was actually a happy ending one where they like,
But you don't
got
know what
back.
happens next. You know, it
I mean,
left a cliffhanger.
That's true. I like to believe they got to Earth and then lived happily ever after.
A cool thing about that ending is that it continues off from part 1 because her brother was Outlaw in the first game, and that's why that car is called Outlaw 2 in the second game. And so in Twisted Metal 1, her brother wished to live in a world without Twisted Metal. And so Calypso just sent him hurling into space. And so his sister joins next year to retrieve her brother.
Yeah.
Knowing that
amazing.
Calypso would probably do the same trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool that like a few of the ones were kind of happy, but most of them were twisted, as per the title of the game.
Yeah, the weirdest one was Sweet Tooth's, where he was like, I want to live as a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
And then he does.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, I don't think that would be his wish.
In the first game, he wished for a brown paper bag, so I guess it's a step up. But he's a bit unhinged. He's a killer clown, and I don't think he's thinking too straight.
Yeah.
Probably not. Do we want to talk about the con or pro?
It's too early to go into cons, Nicky.
Do we want to talk about? Would we like to talk about the pros now?
Do you want to tell us how you really feel about this game?
We'll get to that later.
Okay, so like as we were talking about, like one of my favorite things about this game is the sense of humor. Like between like the message you get when it calls you a loser for playing on easy, or like the weird endings and stuff like that. I don't know. I love the humor in this game. It's that like late 90s humor. I don't know. It's great.
And that's why I chose this game over Twisted Metal Black, because Twisted Metal Black on PS2, that is such a dark game. And I almost picked that one instead, but I was like, it's not very like joyful. So I wanted something more fun to talk about.
Yeah. So they get darker as they go.
Yeah, it gets really, really dark.
Oh gosh.
I don't know. I like the camp. It's like, it's so good.
Yeah, very campy. I really like all the different characters. Like each one is very different and crazy in their own way. And I like that there's just like a good variety of like cars and like characters and their reason for being in this race or battle or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like just some of the characters are, I feel like, pretty iconic.
Yeah, like especially Axel and Sweet Tooth. Like,
oh yeah,
those are the ones that I always think of when I think of the series. And this was before I even really played the game very much. It's like I still recognize those characters.
Oh yeah. We didn't see any Axels at Dragon Con, but man, that would be really cool.
How would you
pull
even
that off?
Do that cosplay?
Hey, someone out there could think about it. Like
you'd have to have someone like pushing you around.
Yeah.
If you pull it off, I'm sure you would go viral. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be cool. Even if it was just like for the parade, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
If you're listening, you're a master cosplayer, like this is what we want to see.
We want to see Axel in his full glory.
Yeah. What's something you like, Andrew? Probably a lot of things since you picked the game.
One of my favorite things is it's a really fantastic co-op game.
Oh, yeah. We actually played, me and Nicky played quite a bit of co-op.
Yeah, I used to play with my brothers a lot. Like we'd do co-op and, challenge mode together and just spend hours fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fighting over who gets to play as Minion.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Minion is ridiculous. He's so overpowered.
Yeah, he's like one of my favorite like unlockables. In
Which
any
one
game.
is he?
He's the one with the big like tank kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's not really a tank, but it's like 3 times as big as any other vehicle. It's gigantic.
Yeah, he's basically just unstoppable death on wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his like special move like involves shooting like 3 or 4 different missiles.
Whoa.
And also freezing you at the
Yeah,
same
and also
time.
freezing you, and then like he can just run you over because he's so big.
Oh, okay, so a little overpowered, huh?
Yeah, totally overpowered. But I think that's the point.
Yeah. I can imagine like fighting with your siblings over that. Like, I want to be him. No, I want to be him. And your mom's like, okay, you guys have to take turns. And then like, if it's your turn and you die after 1 second, you're like, that doesn't count. Let me start over.
Yeah, just adding on to the co-op, there weren't a lot of games back in the day where you could play co-op through the entire story of the game to get, that was like pretty unheard of at the time.
Yeah.
So just the fact that they had that ability to do that like was amazing. I don't think you could get any of the endings that way, but you could, pretty much play through the whole game, which is really nice. One of the things that I really liked was the music and how like it fits perfectly into the game itself. You have that like heavy metal music, and it just fits so well into that twisted metal like death match competition. I love it.
Very 90s.
Definitely one of those soundtracks that's like ingrained in me.
Yeah.
Like, I used to actually put the PlayStation disc like in my portable CD player.
Yeah, you could do that back in the day, right?
What?
Yeah, and you could listen to like all the tracks in the game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just play the game; I'd listen to the music off the disc.
That's
too.
cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I'd be on the school bus listening to Twisted Metal, just imagining the school bus blowing up all the other cars.
Get off our way. We got some learning to do.
But yeah, I would imagine you have to be pretty careful with the disc though, because it is a little bit more valuable because it is a game too.
Yeah, these days I wouldn't take it out.
Anything else, Nikki?
I thought the story was really good. Like, I didn't ever play Twisted Metal 1, the original one, though. But I thought the story of this one, even though it's not very, like, in-depth, I think it's just a creative premise for a game.
Yeah, and it fits the game to me. Like,
Yeah.
it fits what they're trying to do. If it's like the campiness and kind of comedy and stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good premise, I think. You know, like, I think realistically you could create a death competition where people fight to the death to get their ultimate wish. You know, It doesn't matter what it is. So
Have you ever been to a demolition derby?
I have not, but I would
Oh,
totally.
man.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've only been to one, and it was when we went to Eric's family reunion a long time ago, way out in the country part of Nebraska.
Arcadia, Nebraska.
Where there's like 300 people. It's not even a city, actually. I learned that it's a township because it doesn't have a post office. So I learned that's a whole thing. I was like Googling, like, what's a township? But anyways, we went out there for, what was it, Labor Day? No. Yeah, for Labor Day, and they had a demolition derby, and it was nuts. It was so cool, though.
It's one of the many festivities going on. They had like the demolition derby. They had like the town play.
Yeah,
they had a parade.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
That'd be awesome if it was like your family doing the demolition derby.
No one we knew was in it, but I was like, I want to come back and do this. But then I'm like, the logistics were like, okay, I don't live in Nebraska, so I have to like tow a car all the way out here. And
No, you drive it. You just
these are not cars you drive on the road.
Yeah, they were not in great shape. What about you, Andrew?
Well, I got a lot of things we've kind of already touched upon that I got written down. I like the art style. I like the comic book kind of style cutscenes. They're like vibrant, colorful, but kind of dark at the same time. I like the destructible environments.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known about that. I would have probably had that as a pro.
Well, I knew that you could blow up some things, like in Firewalk or whatever. Some of those like statues you could blow up to get like a secret passageway in the level. Mm-hmm. Like I started to learn that you could blow up certain things to get into secret areas, which is pretty. It's a nice touch. I love that.
So you would have eventually figured it out, probably.
That you could blow up the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I thought getting to the top was the secret area in that. So I don't know if I would have tried to blow it up or not.
Have you guys ever played this game at a party? Like, how many players can you have, like, if you're just playing at home?
Two on
Two's
the
the
original
most.
PlayStation.
Yeah. So you would take turns.
Gotcha.
And I remember going to a friend's house and taking turns. And just being like super impressed by it.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a good one to do like a LAN party with, where everyone brings their PlayStation. Like, would you be able to do that with this game or not? Man.
This is like the pre-networking stuff.
So far,
I think
so
around
long ago.
PS2, Xbox. Although I don't remember people doing LAN parties with PS2. I know you could do that with the Xbox.
Okay.
I've never heard about people doing a LAN party with PS2.
Yeah, neither have I. PS2 had like very limited online gaming.
So I'm like, how did these people set up their thing? Is that just only through PC?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's only through the PC version.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Come on, people. We can put our heads together and figure out a way.
Sony just needs to go ahead and remaster the game and put online play with it. I'd probably never play anything else again after that.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, they should do it.
So my final pro is I like how each vehicle has a unique weapon. It kind of makes it fun to go back and replay it, just in the sense that, like, trying it with this character's abilities versus this character's abilities.
Yeah.
So I really like that fact.
Yeah, there's definitely like a play style for everybody, I feel like.
Yeah.
You got fast cars with powerful special weapons, and you got the slower ones. Some of them with ranged attacks,
Yes.
I think everybody can find something that they like playing as.
Or just pick Minion.
Man, I should have picked Minion.
Moving on to cons. I'll let Nicky go first.
All right. First con, having to steer with a PlayStation D-pad is ridiculous because, well, for one, we were playing on PlayStation 2, which has the joystick thumbs or whatever you call them.
Yeah.
And so I kept wanting to use those to steer, and then I would have to remember to use the D-pad instead. But I understand because we should have played it on PlayStation 1, so that was kind of our bad.
Well, to be fair, that's not the game's fault because this game came out before the DualShock controller.
Yeah.
So the original PlayStation controller didn't have the thumbsticks.
Yeah.
And so that came out a couple years into the PlayStation lifespan.
Yeah, that's why I was like, to be fair, we should have been playing this with PlayStation 1 controllers, but we were playing it on PlayStation 2.
But even then, the thumbstick still wouldn't work, so it would have made a difference.
Yeah, but still, steering with a D-pad is just not as good, I don't think.
Especially when you have the joystick right there. You're like,
yeah.
Just taunting you.
Yeah, come on.
But yeah, not really the game's fault.
Yeah.
So one of mine is the graphics haven't really aged that well, but that can be said of really any early 3D game
Yeah.
for the most part. It definitely adds to the challenge just because the cars are kind of hard to identify from a distance.
Yeah. And I feel bad because I don't have the nostalgia goggles that you guys have and stuff for some of these games, so I'm just seeing this for the first time, and I'm like...
Your eyes
I have
bleeding.
no idea I can barely make out what's going on. I mean, it's not that bad, but yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I'm sure the newer games they look a lot better.
So one of my cons is that the AI cheats, blatantly cheats.
What?
Yeah.
What does it do?
It just basically fires infinite freezes and special weapons.
I was
at you.
noticing that. I was following, I think it was Grasshopper who has the freeze one. Mm-hmm. And it was just every few seconds she would shoot a freeze blast back at me. I'm like, how does she have so many freeze blasts?
Yeah, you can't actually shoot those backwards in the game either. And so a lot of times you'll get caught up in an infinite freeze loop until the enemy kills you, which is just totally unfair.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of part of the charm in a way where it's each character kind of has its own way it cheats. Mm-hmm. I feel like so. I don't know. I kind of feel like that just adds to the personality of the characters.
Yeah.
To kind of add to that, there's a pretty steep initial difficulty to the game. When you're first picking it up, trying to play it and not knowing exactly what to do and how the players attack and stuff like that, and still trying to figure out your weapons and how to use them, because some of the weapons aren't really intuitive. I think of Hammerhead, the guy in the monster truck, where you have to have his special selected, but you don't actually hit a button for it. It just is a passive that happens.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, where
Did you guys see that email I sent you? Because
Yeah.
I did see. I tried to send you guys some tips, and I think that was one of them.
and that was helpful. But yeah, it would have been. I think that would have been in the instruction manual where you'd have to go back and find some of that stuff. Some of those codes too. In order to use your shield, for example, you have to hit up, right, and you have to hit it in the right timing.
Yeah, it can be fickle too.
Yeah, so I feel like it has a pretty steep initial difficulty getting into it.
Especially while you're trying to use the D-pad to steer your car.
Yeah.
Enter those combos at the same time.
It's Mr. Slam picks me up, upright, up upright. I'm like, come on, shield.
Help me out here. I feel like the main gun that's not your special thing, just
the
the
little
right
machine
trigger
gun.
thing, that is, I feel basically useless.
It does very low damage.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point, because the way the game's designed, you got your weapon pickups, and then you got the combos, and you got the machine gun. So the game's providing you with 3 different types of attacks.
Yeah.
So you always have the machine gun. So you always have some way to damage the enemies, even though it's weak. But it's better than nothing.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And then you got your weapons that come back over time, and then you got pickups. So it's kind kind of like offers like a variety to strategize with, like keep you in the action.
Yeah.
Like if you're just trying to finish someone off, maybe that machine gun is the perfect weapon for that.
Maybe. I don't know. I found it to be useless.
Or if you're Nicky, it's totally useless.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Another con I have is, the physics. They can be unruly until you get the hang of it. The cars, especially when you hit like a ramp or something.
Oh
they
my
just
God.
They kind of fly all over the place. Like,
Those physics, man.
there's been times when like
Yeah.
I've kind of gone a year or two without playing the game, and I come back to it, I'm like, there's no way I could ever adapt to this again. But I eventually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting physics, car physics for sure. It's like a little floaty.
Like moon physics.
Yeah, a
in a way.
little bit like moon physics, where you go over a ramp you think is like not super fast, but you'll just kind of like keep going up. But yeah, it does take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not like once you get used to it, it's not too bad.
Yeah. The game gets a little bit repetitive. I guess if you're not switching up the characters you're playing as, but even if you are, it's still like you're pressing the same buttons kind of like for every character. So I don't know, it gets a little bit repetitive after a while. I mean, at least for me. And I also didn't know you're supposed to be like discovering all these cool things you could blow up and stuff either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, each level is like the same mission, right? Destroy all the other competitors.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like they kind of gang up on you because it's like they'll all be driving around, but I won't really see them damage each other.
They don't. Like, they are basically programmed to only go for you.
Yeah, come on, man.
They occasionally do attack each other, but even then, like, the damage is very minimal.
Yeah.
But I have actually seen them kill each other before. It's just very rare that it happens.
It has to be like directly in your field of view when it happens.
Pretty much. Like, if somebody's hanging out at one end of the stage, like, they'll never take damage over there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're only doing this because someone's watching.
It's like, oh, he's watching. We better make it look like this is
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, that really is how it works.
Fair.
Like they'll kind of like maybe shoot each other once if like you see them together, but other than that, they're just gonna just hang out together, I guess.
Yeah. The only other thing I have is like I feel like you pretty much like if you're not using those codes, then like you're probably just making things a lot harder on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the game gives you
mean,
the codes.
Yeah.
Every time you beat a level, you get a code to start back at the next level. I kind of wish it would like automatically have that in the password.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to like go and manually enter it every time.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those like archaic kind of game designs.
Yeah. So just where you could continue where you left off, but yeah, it's not bad in the sense that at least you can like use all 3 lives to beat the level and then have all 3 lives to the next level.
Yeah.
Later games, they always replenish your lives like between levels.
Yeah.
So just to take out that tedium, I guess.
Yeah, would have saved you a step of having to die, re-enter the password and get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's about all I got left.
Cool. Moving on to strategy.
This is where you guys majorly come in because I suck at this game.
I mean, Andrew wrote us like a whole email
That's
of
true.
strategy.
I know. I was like, you pretty much already wrote your strategy part when you sent us that email because that's exactly kind of what we try to go for. It's like if you have a new friend that's never played this game, how would you tell them to,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know how it can be when you're starting out on especially this game. Like,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to kind of like ease that as much as possible.
We did play it before we read your notes because we wanted to see how it was on our own, like to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
And then we read your email and we were like, oh yeah, those are good tips.
Yeah, but like each character has their own little idiosyncrasies. Like, what was it? Roadkill with the boomerang? Like, you were saying that like it does less damage going out than it does coming in.
I actually didn't know that until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, every character kind of is like that, where there's like a certain thing it would really help to know when you're playing as that character.
Yeah.
But I feel like my most important thing that helped me the most was just the shield. Just
Yeah,
the button
same.
combo for the shield. And the shield lasts
Up, right. For anyone that needs to know.
and the shield lasts like 2 seconds. So you really have to have good timing on that. So you really have to anticipate like the damage coming in
Yeah.
before you use it. Like, okay, I'm going through a crowd. I better like upright, like get my shield on.
Yeah, that is very crucial.
Yeah,
especially
and that
against Darktooth.
yeah,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
will like slowly replenish over time. But if you keep spamming it, it will like you will use your special gauge or whatever for
Oh, I don't think I ever used it that much. But it did help me live a lot longer.
it. What's a piece of advice you got?
So one of my favorite things to use are the landmines. They are very helpful when you're going down a narrow road and somebody's chasing you. They are really great to use against Darktooth also, because on the Hong Kong level, when you have to face Darktooth, like he'll chase you down like those narrow roads and you just keep dropping landmines behind you.
Are those
And you'll just-
are those the remote mines where you can like set them off yourself, or is that something else?
They're something else. They're actually tied to that combo meter that the shield is
okay.
also. So you can like use that to put in a button combo on the D-pad, and you can drop a landmine behind you.
Oh, okay.
So if you got like somebody chasing you, you just drop a few of those, and they'll hit it, and they'll like bounce up in the air and go flying. I actually did that not long ago. I did something like when I was saying earlier about like how I still find new things in this game to do.
Yeah.
Like I was on the Hong Kong level, and you know over by the docks where the water is.
Yeah.
Well, if you jump over that fence and go in the water, you'll die. And so I had a warthog chasing me like down that pathway, and I dropped the landmine. He hit the landmine and goes flying over me into the water, and he sank in the water and died. And I had never pulled that off before
awesome.
That's
until
amazing.
like not long ago.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, that's
see
pretty. I mean, that would be pretty hard to do because you have to launch them over that.
Yeah, it was like perfect timing. Like he was like at the perfect like angle and
Yeah.
space between me and him.
Too bad you didn't record that.
I wish I did.
People
I
YouTube
just-
would love that.
I just had the biggest smile on my face as I saw
Yeah.
him like go flying over me because I heard him hit the landmine and into the water he went.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
One of my pieces of advice is like you will go through weapons in a hurry. So like when you're not fighting someone, stock up as much as you can, like missiles, remote mines, like bombs, all that stuff, man.
And the health boxes too. Like
Yeah.
try to get those, obviously.
Yeah, if you're low on health, but you don't want to waste them at the same time because there are only so many.
Yeah, true.
So
that's good strategy.
but I think they do.
Save your
Do
health
they come
things.
back over time eventually?
Yeah, they recharge after a while and reappear.
I think it takes a long time for them to come back though.
Sometimes. There's been times where I picked up a weapon and it immediately comes back. So I have no idea how it actually works.
Maybe there's like a global timer or something like that.
I think that's what it is actually. But yeah, like what you were just saying, what I'll do sometimes is if I get down to one more enemy, I'll go stockpile a bunch of weapons and then finish off that enemy. Then I take all those weapons to the next level with me.
Oh, you can
Oh,
carry
that's
weapons
smart.
over?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know.
And that's
that.
really helpful when you go to like Moscow and Holland because at those levels, like
Oh yeah.
there's not a whole lot of weapons and it's really easy to die at those stages.
God, yeah, and they're so
Ah.
crowded. Like everyone's on top of each other. So.
Yeah, they're so small.
Yeah.
So another good strategy, since you were talking about the shield, is to get a remote bomb and drive into a crowd of other contestants, put up your shield, and then drop the remote bomb and blow it up. So you kind of
nice.
kamikaze into them.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that's so smart because, like, I know the remote bomb does like a ton of damage.
Yeah.
Like I've used it a few times. Unfortunately, usually when I use it, like I'm trying to get this guy right next to me, and I end up hitting myself with it. So yeah, using the shield beforehand would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's been
You have
times
to
when
get your
I've
timing right.
Yeah,
There's been times when I've like mashed the weapon button like in a panic.
Yeah.
And then like it'll switch over to remote bombs and accidentally detonate it. And blow
Like,
myself up.
no. Damn it.
it's pretty funny.
So one of the most fun things to do in the game, in my opinion, is on New York and Antarctica. Use the ricochet bombs to send everybody else flying off the edge.
Oh yeah, yeah, because those do like have some force where it will knock them in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's kind of
That's cool.
It kind of feels like you're just bowling them off the edge with a bowling ball. And if you got Mr. Slam, it's always fun to grab people and just chuck them right off the edge. Too. It's definitely one of the most satisfying things, in my opinion.
Yeah, that
Because
sounds fun.
it does take like so long to kill someone with like conventional weapons and stuff. So yeah, being able to knock someone off the cliff would super
Yeah,
nice.
especially multiple of them.
And just another good strategy is to learn where all the health pickups are in the level
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, learn your maps.
Yeah.
So the health is always in the same places. They don't like randomize where pickup stuff is. It's
Yeah,
like
they're-
always in the same spots.
Yep, they are consistently in the same spot.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean, it's almost like having another life because it does refill your vehicle quite a bit.
Yeah.
So if you're getting those health pickups, it's pretty important.
There's some of them that offer like full health too, so
Oh, yeah.
it's good to know where those ones are.
Yeah. So the more and more you play, the more you learn like the maps and stuff.
Yeah, and some of them are kind of in hidden areas too, so you really have to explore the map to find some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, in New York, there's a building you can go into that has like an elevator, and if you blow up the elevator door, there's a full health in there.
Yeah, and some of them are like behind things you blow up, which is cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you guys watched the Twisted Metal TV series?
I
Yeah.
have.
I mean, that's the most obvious thing right now. 'Cause
Yeah.
a lot of people are talking about the show. We've only watched, the first 3 episodes?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So I know you finished the whole thing, right?
Yep.
So I like it so far.
Yeah, I like the episodes I watched. I mean, it was funny. Like I felt like it actually did a pretty good job of representing the game as far as some of the characters and the humor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually surprising everybody right now, because some of the Twisted Metal communities I follow, like when they showed the trailers for this show,
Yeah.
nobody had any faith that it would be any good. Like,
Yeah.
because they were showing like Sweet Tooth singing the thong song and
Yeah.
all this kind of cringe stuff. But it really pleasantly surprised everybody when it came out. Like, it was getting a lot of good word of mouth, getting good reviews from just players of the game and non-players
Yeah.
alike. And so, like, it seems to be like a pretty big hit for Peacock. So.
Yeah.
And when I heard what people were saying about it, I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and watch it myself. And yeah, I was really surprised how good it turned out too. Like, it does take a lot of liberties with the source material, but it's like, you kind of have
How
to.
could you not?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't give you a lot to work with.
And I won't spoil anything, but it gets better as it goes along.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, I watched the first 2 episodes. It's like, not terrible, kind of weird, but it gets better and it gets closer to the source material. Like, by the time you get to the end of the episode, it comes together in a very satisfying way. And it's like, okay, this is like Twisted Metal that
Yeah.
I know now. And so I'm really excited for the second season, because
It did get approved for a second season?
I don't think it has, but I think it will. I think because of
think
the
it will,
writer's
too.
strike, it's
Yeah.
going to get hung up. But,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a
same.
good point.
but it does seem to be doing very well for them, and it ends on a cliffhanger too.
Yeah, I think we're like in a new era where people are like more excited about video game media that's not video games, like since we had The Last of Us and that was really good, and like this show is turning out to be pretty good. Like maybe we'll get more like good video game series and stuff, 'cause I know they're gonna do the God of War as a series too.
Oh, that would be
I didn't
interesting.
know that.
We talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while.
But yeah, the show's really good quality. Like, it's very well made. Like, you can tell they put a lot of money in it. And then like, the main actors, Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatrice, who's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's
Oh, yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good show.
But it's cool. She has such a cool range because she did like Encanto, like the voice in Encanto, and then Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then this, and it's like those are 3 very different like characters. So I think they like did the casting really well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the cast. I thought all the characters were a lot of fun, and it was just very entertaining.
Yeah. So I have a question based on this. Since we know the last Twisted Metal game was 11 years ago, do you think they'll make a new Twisted Metal game now that they've had success with the TV series?
It's been rumored for a while now that a team was working on a new Twisted Metal game, and supposedly a company called Lucid Games is making it. And
That sounds familiar.
they made a game called Destruction All Stars on PlayStation 5 a couple years ago, I think. I didn't play it, but I do remember seeing something about it.
Okay. Yeah, I
So-
never played it either.
That's just the rumor right now, that it was supposed to coincide with the TV show, but it got delayed.
Yeah.
So keeping my fingers crossed that a new game is in the pipeline.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
mean,
cool.
why not? If the show's popular, why not bring it back?
Yeah, I
it seems
know,
like a
right?
good way to make money. At
does-
least
it
that's
does-
what they love doing. So.
Yeah, it does seem like Twisted Metal's kind of having a moment right now with the show. There's been a lot of new YouTubers covering the series lately.
Oh, yeah.
And so
we're jumping on that bandwagon with this.
Yeah, not even on purpose. But I was on Twitch earlier because I was like, let me watch some people playing Twisted Metal 2 while I like finish up my stuff or my rap or whatever. And I looked it up and it was like no content for this game on Twitch. And I'm like, not even like old videos that people had played.
I'm surprised by that.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Especially with the show coming out, you think people would want to be streaming that.
I mean, there's plenty
you
of
know?
stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
You would think with games like Fortnite and all those battle royale games that Twisted Metal would be like a natural fit for that.
Yeah.
I can imagine 99 players and vehicles.
Oh my gosh. That would be really fun though, actually.
They recently re-released Twisted Metal 1 and 2 on the PlayStation Network.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Like a few days before the show came out. So
wow.
I guess they tried to promote the show by releasing some of the games again.
Yeah.
Yeah, jumping on
Always
that.
good to see.
On that bandwagon.
That's
Yeah.
about it for so far, and hopefully it just keeps picking up more traction and getting popular again.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. All right, so moving on to the challenge. So just to remind everybody, the challenge for us was to get the ending for every driver in the game.
Yeah, that was a crazy challenge.
I was on the fence about it, but I wanted you guys to like experience playing all the characters
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
seeing their stories. And then when I learned that, on your guest episodes we have to do the rap anyway, I didn't feel too bad about it anymore. So
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no.
So Nicky, how do you do?
Horribly. I'm not good at this game whatsoever. I tried my best,
I
but
feel
I
like we
just died a lot.
We got through most of it on co-op together.
Yeah. It was easier when we were playing co-op because you could give me like little tips and stuff. But when I was playing by myself, I was just like, well, I don't know what else to do. I'm just keep doing what I'm doing.
I feel like the game is easier on co-op. Just
Yeah, I think
because
so,
maybe
too.
they have more targets to go after. So if you kind of split up.
Yeah, that, and
Kinda
it's not
divides
just
them up.
you against everybody. You at least have
Yeah.
one other person helping you kill everybody else.
So did you try this challenge yourself?
I mean, I've beat the game multiple
Oh,
times.
okay.
And
So
I-
you've
Yeah.
already done this.
I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I can do it in one continue with all
Nice.
the characters.
Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
nuts.
Oh, I just thought of a con that I forgot to say because we were talking about co-op mode, and I don't understand why they do this, but they change the orientation of the screen.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's horizontal, sometimes it's vertical. Why? Why do they do that?
There's a button combination you could hit to swap between the two.
Oh,
but
really?
it is kind of annoying that it does that. By
Yeah,
default.
I was like, why? This is so weird. I just couldn't think of like why they would do it like that. But
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the vertical split screen.
yeah.
And I was going to say for myself, I did get one ending.
Which one?
I was having trouble beating Hong Kong and Darktooth, but I did realize there was a code just to get to Darktooth.
Oh, so you could do different characters.
I got Axel's.
Yeah, nice.
Actually, Axel was a pretty good matchup because even though like when Darktooth did get in close, you could actually his special was like a area attack around him. So
Yeah.
There's actually a special code that only applies to Axel called Wheels of Death, I believe. And so like you could put in this code, and when you activate it, it'll say Wheels of Death at the top. And you could basically like kill everybody in 2 hits just by running into it. With Axel. So if you want to
cool.
have some fun, play around with that code.
Yeah.
nice.
That's
All right.
funny.
So I guess
Wheels of
I
Death.
guess me and Nicky are rapping. Would you want to join us, Andy?
Sure, I'll give it a shot.
As if it was a choice.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's hear it.
Last year we left Los Angeles a mess, so this year the world will know Calypso's contest. 14 contestants will battle to the death to claim the ultimate prize. Any single wish they name, load up on missiles, fire, homing, and power, and just for fun we'll blow up the Eiffel Tower. From Hollywood to Moscow to the streets of Paris, battle with Minion and lava, he don't scare us. On the rooftops of New York, the view is glam. Get a closer look, courtesy of Mr. Slam. Antarctica, Holland, and Hong Kong round out our tour. Victory is yours, just one battle to endure. Before you claim your prize, Darktooth has a score to settle. Overcome him and you've won Twisted Metal. Make it to the end and your wish is granted. But be careful how you speak or your words might be slanted. Don't blame me if I twist the words you're saying. I am Calypso and I thank you for playing.
The story is sad, so grab a tissue. If you only knew what I've been through. Trapped in a slough, feeling like an animal in a zoo. Body locked to these tires too. 20 years, what else is new? Shoulder guns, go pew pew. Believe it or not, it's all true. When I see this through, Calypso will have a view. Crying boo hoo hoo. When I fix my daddy issues, what have I got to lose? Finally free from his noose. Got no excuse. Fuck it, I'll rip my arms loose.
High up in the booth, I've been following the youth. Like a sleuth to the truth, you can call me Dark Tooth. Murder has begun, and it's fun in the sun as they fire off the gun. Wait, did you just kill my clown son? I'm coming undone, gonna slaughter everyone. Get your buns on the run, I'm second to none. On the track, dressed in black, I want my clown boy back. Ready to attack, gonna build a tiny shack. With your bones in the rack and your organs on his plaque. Crack your neck, gonna dunk your skull like Shaq. Got a knack for a snack, gonna scoop me out a stack. Now I'm on a roll, ready to cajole the soul of my son into a goldfish bowl.
Whoa, good job, everybody.
Yeah, those are some good raps.
We had to like dust it off ourselves because we haven't had an episode in a while, so that was fun.
Yeah.
That was my first and probably last rap ever.
Hey, you can check it off your bucket list. You're a recorded rap artist now. Did you ever think that would happen?
If I ever win Twisted Metal, I'm going to wish to become a rap artist.
Yes. And then Calypso will just
He'll wrap it up in a present, I'm
I was
sure.
like, he'll send you to Macy's to work at the gift wrapping
my gosh.
Department.
Nice.
I'm going to write Sony and tell them that idea.
All right. And then the next game is going to be picked by Nicky.
Yeah. And it's going to be close to Halloween time.
It'll be in October.
Gonna pick something spooky. Coincidentally, also a sequel. Eric, you want to guess what it is?
I mean, I kind of know what it is.
Yeah, I already told you. Because like, I wanted you to have enough time to be able to play it because it is scary. But we're going to be doing The Evil Within 2. So we already did an episode about the first one like a few seasons back with our friend Ibanez.
Yeah, it's a great episode.
And I was looking for a scary game to play because it's like getting into spooky time. And I found The Evil Within for like $7.
Yeah, The Evil Within 2.
Yeah, The Evil Within 2 for $7. So I was like, heck yeah, let's do this. So that's the game we're going to be playing.
The first one was excellent, and I'm a fan of like the Resident Evil games, especially Resident Evil 4, and that's kind of like what the series embodies.
Yeah, it's weird because you don't like scary movies, but you like kind of like scary games.
Scary
which
games
I think
are different.
Scarier than scary movies.
I agree. I do think they're scarier, but I don't know, something about it being interactive and fun, and you're managing your inventory, you're doing other stuff besides just being scared the whole time. Like you're doing puzzles. I don't know. It's fun.
Have you played either of the games?
I have not, but I've got The Evil Within in my backlog, and I am actually planning to play it next month.
Do it.
Do it.
It's been on my backlog for a while, and it's kind of finally come up on my list of games to play.
Yeah, if you like the Resident Evil games, you'll like it.
Yeah, and I think it was like your guys' episode of the first game that kind of bumped it up on my to-do list.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Eric, are you wondering what your challenge is going to be?
Oh, God. Is it going to be like get every single key in the game or something?
No. And I only didn't pick that because you already started playing. And I figure you probably have to start over if you wanted to get all those. So, you're going to have to get the trophy called Stick It in My Veins, which means you completely upgrade all your abilities on the abilities thing. You have to get all those babies.
Can I do it through New Game Plus? Or do I have to do it in one go-through?
I'm not going to tell you, and you cannot look it up. That's a part of the challenge.
That's not fair.
That's a part of the challenge. So you can figure it out on your own.
Well, if she doesn't say no, then it's fair game, I guess.
All right, yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm looking
right.
forward to this next game.
Okay. Cool. Me too. Till next time.
All right. All right. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
This
for
has
being
been
here.
Press Any Button. Thank you for listening.
Bye.